Hey everybody, welcome to Average Guy Opinions. I'm your average guy, John Corelli. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, as I did, and I just want to talk a little bit about the Ahmaud Arbery case. For those of you living under a rock, we've had obviously a couple of huge cases in the past week. We had the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict of not guilty, and then we had the Ahmaud Arbery case where the three men that basically lynched him. I'm not even going to say basically, it was a lynching. They're calling it a modern day lynching. Uh, were all found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. So that's good. And but it made me think about how justice is served in this country, or often not served. And I'm trying to get in the head of a juror. I don't know about you guys. I've only been on jury duty twice. Neither time was I selected. It was in Arapahoe County when I lived in Aurora both times. I didn't even get like anything in the mail to be for jury. What I didn't even get selected until I was like 40, which is very rare. So both times I wasn't selected to be on the jury. One of those times was for a murder trial. And so I thought about it. I thought about how I felt possibly ending up being a juror on the murder trial of this man. They accused him of killing his babysitter, I think, or his wife. It was domestic. And I believe he killed his wife and had something, the babysitter had something to do with it. They told us the basics of the case even before they got down to the 12 jurors. I believe there are 140 of us. And it's kind of funny. Jury selection is kind of hilarious sometimes. Like, there are guys that obviously want to get out of it. There was, reminded me of a 30 Rock episode where Tina Fey dressed up as Princess Leia. Went to court dressed that way so she could get out of jury selection. And it's New York, so they're like, that's Bush League. No, we see people trying way harder than this to get out. You're selected, so it's kind of funny. I mean, like this one guy, I remember. So how do you feel about, it was like the Second Amendment or something? This guy just goes on this diatribe about, well, I believe that in 1776 we declared our independence from the Kingdom of Great Britain. Blah blah. And he goes on. It's like, dude, you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. Okay, maybe you don't have to get selected for this jury, but maybe you should go out and clean trash off the side of the road for 12 hours just for being a dickhead. This is a very important thing we've been assigned to. We have arguably the most evolved, at least. It doesn't always work, but I think we have one of the most evolved jurisprudence systems in the world, because we let citizens decide the fate of fellow citizens. I mean, we have professionals being our judges and our lawyers and so forth, and our administrators in that system. But average Joe Schmo like me can go in and be 1/12, almost 8% of a jury that decides a person's fate. And it's a big deal and it's important. But having said that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the cases really quickly. I also wanted to talk about how outside things can affect how a jury decides a case, possibly. Now, obviously, I was not happy with the Rittenhouse verdict. That was only a week ago. I mean, we've had two huge, like I said earlier, two huge verdicts and huge cases that can be precedent-setting within a week. So, obviously I wasn't happy with the Rittenhouse verdict. I think that person, I think he put himself in harm's way when shit hit the fan, he was willing to kill two people. And I think that's got to be on him. He wasn't just walking down the street. He brought an AR-15 because he knew he would need an AR-15. Notice how the cops weren't even in there and he's in there? Come on, get real. But so having said that, a precedent has been set. Kind of a scary precedent. A precedent that was being already tested the very next day when protesters in New York hired a black man and his daughter. They both had AR-15s, and they've been trained in them. They're lawfully allowed to carry them. But is this where we're headed now? Is this where we're headed? That we're going to just have people carrying assault rifles or whatever you want to call them. I mean, I don't know the technicalities, and I hate when the guns rights people get into the technicalities. If your weapon is meant for warfare, it's meant for warfare. It's not a pistol. It's an automatic weapon or semi-automatic or whatever you want to divide it into. It's meant to kill mass amounts of people. That's what it's there for. Let's not make any mistake about that. So that's the scary precedent of the Rittenhouse case, is that, apparently you can just come on in and do what you want, or in this case be hired. I mean, I understand it too. Protesters are like, well, the cops aren't defending our First Amendment rights to peaceably assemble, so we're going to hire some people that have weapons, because we saw what happened in the Rittenhouse case. People that were there, whether they were violently assembling or not, they weren't killing anybody. Yes, they were destroying property. Many of them weren't, and and yes, Rittenhouse ended up with a gun pointed at him because he brought a huge gun, and got in the face of an EMT, or he wasn't an EMT technically, but he was one of the medical guys to be there, which is an unfortunate thing. That medical people, not professionals, have to be there. I saw them when I went to the protests last year. They are there with first aid kits. I don't know how much they know, but they're there because the cops aren't going to help anyone they hurt. They're not. They're not even going to call an ambulance. So those are necessary things in the 21st century of protesting and I don't know, politics, I guess, law, I don't know. But so what I also what I thought about were two things when it came to these cases. One is video evidence, and there's video evidence in each case, and how video evidence sometimes works, like in the Arbery case. Sometimes it doesn't work, like in the Rittenhouse case, or can not be used properly. I mean, like I said, I think he killed those two people. Whether it's murder or not, I don't know. But it still didn't feel like self-defense when he didn't need to be there. I'm repeating myself. But video evidence often doesn't work. Remember 30 years ago, excuse me, Rodney King. A man videotaped Rodney King getting beaten for 90 seconds by 5 cops with batons. And those men were found innocent of excessive force. And I remember my dad, who is not a he's not a big fan of the Black Lives Matter movement, but he's also not a big fan of cops. My dad's like, you know what the scary precedent with this case is, John? I go like, the video evidence wasn't used. He says, no, besides that, that was seen as not an excessive use of force. That is frightening. So 5 cops can beat on you for 90 seconds with batons, strike about 60 blows, and that's not considered excessive force. And I also don't buy the argument, well, Rodney King was on PCP, George Floyd was on PCP, all these guys were on PCP. No, even if they were, 5 cops should be able to handle that. You got tasers, you got handcuffs, you got all the cards stacked in your favor. If you can't handle a guy that's, whether it is or not, on PCP, or whatever drug you're making up to make this guy 10 times stronger than the normal human, you can still, there are 5 of you in one of him. You can get him in handcuffs. You can lean on his limbs. You don't have to lean on his neck or his head. There are ways to get him subdued. And I also I know a lot of people made that argument because Rodney King kept trying to get up. Well, eventually, if you're being beaten enough, your survival instinct kicks in, and you're going to just try to get up and run away. You're not going to play dead like a possum and let them keep beating you. But yeah, so in these two cases, they each had video evidence. I think there was a movement, or at least I heard a theory that I don't know if this is played up by the defense, but that Ahmaud Arbery was somehow at fault here because when a man approached him with a shotgun, he tried to take the shotgun away and was summarily shot. It's like, well, no, let's not twist this. 3 men in 2 vehicles, at least 2 of those men were armed, chased this man down for being in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time. And Ahmaud Arbery was on land and he was technically trespassing, but I don't think he stole anything. And they also had video evidence, because there was a camera at this location, that white people had been in this place too, and they weren't chased down and shot. So so it was definitely a racial thing. But these guys, that was part of the thing. Like, oh, he was trying to take the gun away. Yeah, because he knew they had hostile intent. He knew they weren't just there to, maybe they were there to question him, but they blew this guy away. And that's what, you have your guns out. And Ahmaud Arbery was out of running because he was on foot while these guys were in a truck. Maybe you just do what you can in desperation to try to survive. And that's what happened. He didn't survive because another guy had a gun and shot him. We had a guy with a pistol and a guy with a shotgun and another guy filming. He had 3 guys against 1 guy, not only armed with weapons, but also armed with automobiles, versus a guy in tennis shoes, jean shorts, and a polo shirt. So justice was served in this case. They also changed the law in Georgia. Apparently there was the concealed carry, and well, not the concealed carry, but like make your day type of laws have been changed, because if the guy's on your property, fire away apparently, but if the guy's on the street and running away from you, there's no reason. Call the cops, or if you want to try to subdue him, but don't kill him and lynch him uh, and don't film it. Bad idea. Anyway, so that's my take on those two cases. Um, we'll see how we move forward as a country. And that was another thing I actually wanted to mention is the mindset that a juror has to be in. Did those jurors in Georgia go, oh man, Rittenhouse just got acquitted. Maybe we need to swing the pendulum back the other way and put these guys away? I would not, I don't want to think that's the way the system works, but it probably does. I mean, I'm a realist. I like, oh man, we didn't have any horrible riots after Rittenhouse, but this country might be even more divided than before, Yeah, we probably need to put these guys away, even though they're clearly guilty. Despite that, in addition to that, just for maybe the good of moving this country forward and having some healing between the races, these guys need to go away. So there you go. There's my take on that. I went a little over. I babbled a little, but that's what I do. Thanks to you guys. I hope you're having a great Thanksgiving weekend, and I'll get back to you with more stuff soon. All right. Thank you. Bye.